Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Tech Talks with Manju. Today I'll be covering how did we go from room-sized computers to cloud-based apps which we are using right now, which can fit into our pockets. Okay, so this video was requested by a few of the students and a few of the people who are new to the data centers or the cloud computing technology. Okay, so today I'll be covering what was the first ever computer invented to the journey of till our particular cloud computing evaluation. Okay, so now if you're new to the cloud computing or if you're new to the particular application usage, all those things, so you can watch out my video, else you can skip this particular video. So let's start this video without wasting any time. Let's see what was the first ever computer, that is digital computer, invented in our world. So they call it as a ENIAC. So this particular digital computer was invented first in 1943. From 1943 to 45, there was a very basic version of, you can see, a huge room size server where they used to have all the setups, manual cables switching from one port to other port for the different purposes. Okay, so and also the right side, right now we have reached a particular situation where we can build a specific server itself which is of a cherry size. Okay, so we'll see the journey, how it started, and then where we are right now. Now, to see that journey, we have to look at the timelines. So we'll look at few of the eras, how they have changed the entire room size computer to today's servers. Okay, so first ever ENIAC server, as I've mentioned, 1943 they have invented, and they have refurbished, reworked, and redeployed on 1946. The designer was John Mauchly and Prosper Eclat. So these two guys have invented this particular computer. We can say it is not a server. Okay. Now after that, there was an era for a miniaturization. So here they try to equip a specifically smaller server where they can use it in a single room, and also they can use the multiple computers where they can share it with multiple users also. So this was possible only because of the microprocessors invention. Okay, so the microprocessors, where it is in this small size and it has a complete capability to handle a specific processes. Also, there was no manual cable switching was required to perform a specific process. So basically that leads to a particular personal computers which was invented by IBM and Apple. So Intel invented a chip in 1971 which made the huge difference in our particular computer world. Okay, so you can see that particular personal computers in the images where they were able to keep it onto the table, and multiple computers were able to fit into a single room. That was the era of 1960s to 1980s. After that, in 1990s, they have invented the internet. Internet was one of the greatest invention in our particular inventions. So that made the whole world get connected. In this particular era, they have first introduced the TCP IP protocol. Okay, where a single network was able to get connected with the multiple computers. Okay, where they were able to share the printers and the information and the files. Okay, that made the whole world to get connected with. So basically it started with TCP IP. Then they went on to invent the World Wide Web, in which they were able to try to sell the services over the internet. Okay, so to create a World Wide Web, there were so many other inventions also which helped the world to get connected with, specifically the internet providers. Okay, so when you're trying to connect from a room to room, so now initially when PCs were invented, they have invented the network also, where multiple computers were able to communicate each other. From multiple computers to multiple cities, so they have invented this particular network extension of cities to cities. Okay, so in which all these TCP IPs were very helpful, and it made the things work easier. After that, there were particularly service providers where they used to provide the connection to a specific connectivity to get connected with, to enable the websites. Okay, so it was kind of a dial-in connections from the specific internet providers, and there were other AOL connectivities, login pages they were popping in when they want to enable this internet. Now we see that 24/7 the internet is enabled, but in 1990s that was not the case. So you have to specifically log in, and then you have to use the dial-in connection and enable the internet to your computer. And also it was very, very less utilization were being used, because the websites were very less at that time. Also dependency on the internet was very less, because of the physical letters were in progress at that particular moment. So the physical letters were being used to communicate from cities to cities. After that, the data centers and virtualizations has been a part of this particular invention. So the more and more internet started being utilized by multiple companies and multiple personals, the virtualization, the physical servers were not enough to use it. Basically, the physical servers were being used a lot, and the virtualization was supposed to be introduced in 2000s and 2000 plus. So here, what happened? The data centers started virtualizing the physical server. So when the websites were introduced, basically it was deployed onto the physical servers. So we'll see what is server first. So server, it is the bigger computer where you will be able to share the data with. Okay, and every server has its own intention. Maybe it might be hosting an application, website, database, different purposes. So that server serves the capability of sharing the things, okay, in the larger size than the personal computers. And in that 90s era, most of the physical servers were used, and in 2000 plus, the virtualization started booming, because a single server able to host a virtualized multiple applications. Okay, so you see this particular data center which you are able to say it. The data centers are very huge. They contain a number of servers, and then upon that, virtualization was used to properly utilize a server. So if you in 90s, if you build a physical server, if you deploy a particular website or the application, the whole server was dedicated to a single application or website, which indeed the complete server was not utilized properly. Maybe we can say power of the server, okay, and the most of the part were not utilized. For example, if you are building a server, and then if you are keeping it, maybe if that single website was able to use only 50% of that particular compute utilization, maybe CPU or RAM or the hard disk. So those compute resources can be utilized in a matured way with the virtualization. So now the virtualization has been introduced, and also the data centers were increased in 2000 to serve the particular requirement of the world on the IT. Now here, after introducing the virtualization and the data center optimization in 2000s, they still wanted to invent more, because they had a number of issues. For example, if we take a particular data centers, there were a concept of licenses. Okay, so these data centers were having a lot of power to maintain it, and they were charging a lot. For example, if your website is very small and your intention to use the website to run your business is very small, you're supposed to have a server and cooling of that particular server system and the license part of the OS or the DB or even the website, right? So all those licensing part were there, and also you're supposed to physically maintain that particular server. Though the virtualization was a part of it, but some hardware is required to run it. To maintain that, it was very difficult for the small scale industries. Okay, at that moment, even the data center providers. So there are a few of the data center providers. We can list few of them, but that those data center providers were also being utilized on the contractual basis for the specific time. For example, 1 year, 6 months, or 5 years, 10 years, and all. So the minute they sign a contract, it's a huge amount. So they, whether the application is being used 24/7 or not, they were supposed to pay 24/7. So that is the biggest demerit of the data center. That's how the cloud computing has been evolved. Okay, so the advantage on the cloud computing here is you have to pay how much you're being utilized, how much you're utilizing your computing resources. So that's the biggest advantage on the cloud. That's how the cloud computing has been introduced, and that's the biggest advantage right now in the world to utilize the cloud computing resources. Basically, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of the IT resources over the internet. Okay, so IT resources and computing resources. It can be a software, it can be a particularly servers. It has different parts like deployment. It has deployment methods and the other servicing deployments. So we will discuss all those things on to the next video. What is cloud computing, and we'll go deep down onto the services and modules and the other things. Okay, so this was the journey of the particular room sized computer to the pocket sized apps. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can just comment right now on the particular video, and I'll try to answer all the questions that which you have been raised. Okay, next thing is we'll look at few of the data center images. So most of the students right now, they don't have much idea about what is data center and how it is being utilized and how the internet is being used on the servers. Okay, so first and foremost thing is, what is data center? A data center is a stack of servers. Okay, it has the power, it has the racks. Okay, it has the connectivity to a specific rack. Okay, the left side which you are able to see it, so on the rack, so there are some power cables, there are some data cables, right? So those cables are connected to each rack and each server on it. Okay, now whenever there is an application, it is being deployed. This is very important. Now it is equal to your specific computer which is being used right now. It has the CPU, it has the RAM, it has the storage. Okay, so storage can be kept separately, or it can be attached over the other end, or like with the cables itself, but it is kept separately as part of the data center wise. Okay, so it depends on the data center design also, how they want to utilize, how they want to connect the storage. Okay, basically the servers will sit on these particular racks. Okay, now once the server has been deployed, so there are multiple virtualizations that we can use, Hyper-V or a hypervisor, and different things. Okay, so it depends on the virtualization. They will try to utilize these CPU or the RAM power. Okay, now it a set of physical servers can make a single virtual server. Okay, else a single server can be virtualized into different virtual servers. Okay, so those things are will be there. Basically, how do they maintain the data center? Right side you can see these racks will be connected to a ILO. Okay, so this ILO, it depends. Okay, these server provide, again the physical server providers are there, like IBM is there, and then Cisco is there. So many different server providers are there. Those server providers will provide with a licensing period. Okay, though this particular server is being installed, after that, to access it, there is something called ILO. Okay, integrated lightout we will say. Those ILOs consoles will be connected with a specific internal IP address. Okay, it can be accessed remotely also, and it can be accessed over the server. Okay, so few of the old servers still it is being used on the data centers itself. There will be an engineer who will try to help you with all the assistance whatever it is required if it has to be accessed. Sometimes when a server is down, okay, uh, either we can try to use the ILO to see what is happening. It is basically a software, whether it is kind of a firmware where it says what is the status of the server. Okay, while it is booting, or is it out of particular service or license, all the other things will be there. Okay, so those ILOs will be used, and those ILOs will let us know what is the physical server status. Okay, and to renew it, there will be a procedure. Exactly, you will be having a licensing IDs, unique IDs for a Unix server, and that will be again referred to extend it furthermore. Okay, so to basically talk about the data centers, it's kind of an headache. Okay, so most of the uh, website users, they want to get out of this particular headache. Okay, that's why the cloud computing is more helpful. Okay, again in the market, there are many data center providers where you just have to sign up the contract and then they will maintain it. As such companies only will give you a contract of years and the other things. Okay, so you just have to sign up with a huge amount for the longer time. When you are trying to use the cloud, that's the biggest advantage. You can even use it in minutes, and you will also get charged in seconds. Okay, so how many seconds that you have used, you can even pay for the seconds for the licensing cost and the other things. We will see that plans and details in the future. But this is all about the data center. That's why they wanted to get out of the data center and invent the cloud. Okay, above the cloud, there are many things that which we will be continuing in the future videos. So if you like this particular video, please scan this particular scan code and you will end up with this website, and you will be able to see multiple platforms that which I'll be explaining the different things. Okay, so basically YouTube is a main platform which I'll try to put all the information, but all the links and the other things I'll put it onto the Facebook and Instagram. And thank you so much for your time. Have a great day ahead.